Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Yes, we do. Got a great one lineup for you this morning. And we want to make sure that you are a participant of this particular conversation that we're going to have this morning. Well, I was going to tell you what we're talking about, but I got to go around and introduce everybody. This young lady, she's smiling this morning. She's smiling like she all happy. Cause I'm happy. Come along. Like she all happy. Tell everybody who you are and where you're hailing from, young lady.
I'm Anna from Lunchtime with Anna.
Oh, she's so excited.
I'm from somewhere out here in Georgia.
No, parts unknowns. Parts unknown. You from parts unknown.
Somewhere in Georgia. We can pinpoint it to Georgia.
Yeah, it's around that area somewhere. Around that area somewhere. Hey, we got your brother from another mother, but we got those same father on right here. This is Captain Leonard. Yes, Captain.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Tell everybody where you're from.
This is Leonard Jones, New Order National Human Rights Organization, calling in from Covington, Georgia.
See, this brother here say, look here, I'm gonna tell you something. Leonard, I'm gonna tell you where I'm from, and I dare any of y'all to come. Come over here. I'm over here in Covington, Georgia. I'm gonna put you on the map. Covington, Georgia, where I am. If y'all want me, come get me. Come get me. I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. Through the course of the conversation that we have, Leonard might say something that might rub y'all a little. Don't send me no email. Don't send.
My goodness.
Send it to Covington, Georgia. Send it to Covington, Georgia, because I get tired of reading the emails. But send it to him. He got an email address.
You're not worried about him.
But listen, how was y'all weekend? Was the weekend okay? What y'all doing?
Yeah, definitely. You easy going.
Yes, sir.
What did you have to do? Where did you go?
Stay in the house and chill out. Oh, actually, though, honestly speaking, I went fishing on Saturday.
You did?
Friday. Went fishing Friday.
That's a good thing.
Did you get anything?
I did. But what I did was I got some, but I gave them to my friend. He didn't catch too many, and so I gave them to him. Let him go ahead and hold on to them. And
you left us waiting for some fish.
Oh no! I get some more. So soon as the rain stops, I'm going to get some more. Leonard will tell you, ain't got no problem getting no fish.
Oh no, that ain't no problem.
I ain't got no problem with no fish. It's easy.
Before the broadcast starts, let's not forget that it's our brother Curtis's birthday. I did wish him a happy birthday.
That's right. 420. Happy birthday, Curtis.
Oh Lord, look what I got to deal with today. Oh my goodness. Today's birthday. Oh Lord. Y'all got something on y'all hands today. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all got something on y'all hands. But look, I want to ask y'all the question, man, and because we got a few people that's logging in. I'm sure they saw the topic what we're talking about, and we're gonna tackle it from different angles. But Anna, I'm gonna come to you first, and I'm gonna ask you the question: what is a thug? Everybody talking about this thug, this and this thug life, and this thug, this and this thug, and a lot of ladies say, I don't want no nice guy. I gotta get me a thug. I would have a thug, and all this. That seems to be the climate of what's going on in this day and time. So Anna, if you could explain to us from where you're sitting, what is a thug?
So it depends what kind of thug you're talking about.
Oh Lord,
yeah,
she started with it. Should we be afraid? Go ahead. What's the different levels? Are there different levels of thugs?
And this is for me?
Yes.
So there's Tupac kind of thug, for people from my generation. I don't know if there's any thugs from this generation. I don't know what's wrong with these men today. But there's like Tupac kind of thug, and then there's like a thug for Christ. So are we talking about a thug for Christ in a positive way?
We ain't talking about no thug for Christ. That ain't what we're talking about this morning. No, we're talking about thug. We're talking about what is a thug. And when people say thug, a lot of times they don't think of Christ when they say thug. Tell me what a thug is.
So what is a thug? So I mean, that's the best description I can give you. Like, it was Tupac. Like, he's the epitome of what a thug is. Mm-hmm. And I never heard, well, at least towards the end of his life, he wasn't treating his woman bad. Maybe he was a bad boy before then, but he didn't take them women serious, so they just threw themselves at him. So that's a whole different story. But thugs, they just don't care. That's why he had the thug life written on. That's the life he wanted to live.
So if you say a thug is someone that don't really care, why is it that women gravitate? Why do women gravitate to a thug if they don't care? What is the attraction? If a guy, if his attitude is he don't care and he this he that, why is a woman drawn so much to a thug?
Okay, so this is a bad one because I got somebody listening. Why would you pick today for this? I'm like blushing. So let's say a guy that runs the streets. I'm gonna say it in a better version. I'm not gonna use Tupac anymore. I might have some problems here. But okay, let's just say like it's a guy that runs the streets.
Okay.
Right? Why do women gravitate to that? Just because you're a bad boy. You're a bad boy, and it's like what's untouchable. Like we and this is funny because Christy and I were having this conversation just yesterday. It's funny. So it's just what they do. But I will tell you, most of us Christian women, we don't want no thug in our life right now, not today. But what's gravitating is like you're just a bad boy. Like it's just you'll do everything that the good guy won't do. Like you're like, oh, well, let me give an example. Oh, I'm gonna do this because I feel like doing it. When the good boy would be like, let's say a cigarette. So they'll smoke the cigarette because they want to smoke the cigarette, but then the good boy is gonna be like, oh, I gotta follow the rules. I'm not able to smoke a cigarette yet. If that makes it, well, let's use a drink because you got to be 21 to have a drink, right? So they'll drink that drink at like 18 or 19, and that's sexy at that young age to some women. And that ain't sexy to me, not today. I want a man that works and does everything right and follows the rules. I ain't trying to be with no thug, no street boy or street man, to use proper terms. But that is attractive because you do what you're not supposed to do, if that makes sense. So I was raised in a household where we had to follow all these rules. I wasn't allowed to do nothing. I was sheltered. So that was like, ooh, you're doing bad stuff, which really got me in some trouble. And you guys have heard the after effect of that. So yeah, it's not a good thing.
Okay. Good morning, Christy. How you doing this morning, young lady?
Good morning, pretty lady.
Good morning. How are you guys? I'm sorry I'm dressed like this. I'm getting ready to go to work in a little while, so I have to cover up more than normal.
That's fine. Answer this question, and I want to from a lady. I'm glad I have y'all two on here. What is a thug, and why are a lot of young ladies attracted more to the thug than the quote unquote good guy?
Okay, I'm gonna try to answer this in twofold because you have, just like you have good Christians and bad Christians, you have good thugs and bad thugs.
Exactly.
Like my example,
I didn't know there was different levels of thugs. Go ahead.
like you have the Nipsey Hussles. He was a Crip, known to be a Crip, but he was a philanthropist at the same time, and he done a lot of good um, for that organization. Now you have what I classify as a not so good thug, and that's your Tupac wannabes. Those are the ones that disrespect women, or those
They're
are the ones that do the.
too. They're not like the real
They're the
deal.
wannabes. But you know, in anything, you have to know the person. The person makes it. My definition of a thug, I mean, you can be a Christian thug, you can be a corporation thug, you can be, a thug can be anybody that at the end is gonna hustle and get everything that they need to get. It's just a hustle. It's a hustle mentality. Now, if you take that mentality to mean ugly or evil, like you can be a thug that want to do drugs, you want to be a thug that sell drugs, or you can be a thug in a corporate America that's going to take away from our people. And you got to remember, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was considered thugs of their day, but they wasn't. They was just going against the grain. So to me, a thug is going against the normalcy and going against the grain to get what you want, whether positively or negatively. Now, why do women gravitate to thugs? Because it's something in them that sees the excitement, that sees, oh, I can help him, I can change him, that motherly, that instant, I want to help him or her. And most men are attracted, some men are attracted to some thug women, So
Absolutely.
it goes it's that ambition and that thrive that you're attracted to, but at the same time you have to know whether it's negative or positive. And a lot of times it is negative. It's more, a lot of time it is negative, and it's the thrill of it, like, oh, it's a thrill thing. And versus the good guys, not, I mean, I love a good guy, don't get me wrong, but a good guy or a guy that's not a thug doesn't seem to stand up. Like, if a dude come and touch me on my butt and we're in a club, a good guy gonna be like, okay, okay, let's go on about our business. But if you with a thug and he touch you on your butt, he gonna be like, hey, that's my woman. What the F you doing touching my girl? You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. That mentality is a lot different.
You more attracted to the one that's gonna take the second approach?
I'm attracted to the one that's gonna protect me, and it doesn't have to be violently. Like, I've learned over the years that protection doesn't mean violence, and protection doesn't mean jealousy. So it's like you have to come, just like in a man have to come into a boy have to come into a knowledge of a man. A girl have to come into the knowledge of who she is as a woman and what she really wants and expects from that mate that she's looking for.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Leonard, I've been holding you on this. I want to get these women a definition of what a thug is. Now, Leonard, we men. Now we know, like I said, and we know some guys that quote unquote are good guys that'll split your wig if you step in them wrong. If you step in them wrong, they're gonna split your wig. They quote unquote good guys. They're not the thug. They may dress a certain way, blah blah blah. So they're not the thug. But if you step in them in a certain way, or you step at their family in a certain way, they're gonna split your wig. They're gonna do what they gotta do to get you up out of there. So Leonard, what is a thug, man? And what do you think the attraction for a lot of these women are for a thug? I see you smiling already, brother. I don't know if but we might need to go to somebody else before we come to you, Leonard. But what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Man, I'm just listening and learning because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
Thug used to be very negative. As a matter of fact, in order to be a thug, you had to break the law. That's how you got to be known as a thug, really, in the street. Is that a lot of times what's right don't apply to what you need to do or how you behave. So if you look at the history of it, first of all, the rap connotation of a thug that was made popular by Tupac really had a lot to do with Tupac being a well-read person. And so that whole thing with thug it was his version really spoke to what society had created in his community was a thug. And it was because of the hate that they gave us. So thug really is the hate that you give or the hate that you gave. That was that message from Tupac. Is that this response that you get, which makes us thugs, is because of the hate that you cast upon us. So this is why we behave the way we behave. Historically, thugs had nothing to do. Thugs were a cult.
Yes. Yeah.
And they worshiped Kali. Goddess Kali. So thuggies really came from somewhere, I think, in northern Africa. My fault, India. Northern India, I believe, where they started calling people thuggies. So if you was real red and things like that, like with Tupac, probably knew that as well. But he chose the thug thing as a moniker for what was going on and what America was creating and what we call these ghettos. You creating these thugs because of the hate that you continue to give us. Okay, that's where that it has changed. Now we have it using it. We're dropping the illegal connotation and everything. And matter of fact, thugs was known for killing you with their bare hands.
Yes.
This is what being a thug was about. Was you didn't care. You kill somebody with your bare hands. Matter of fact, you'd strangle them.
Yep.
That's what being a thug was really about. So now we've changed it for really to make it synonymous with hustler almost. See, hustlers are just getting it done. So you can be a good hustler and get it done. But thug, I think, is just a sexy word that people like to say.
And see, and excuse me, and what Tupac did, truth of the matter, what he did, he glamorized the word. He glamorized what it is and what it's supposed to be. But if you go way on back and you really look and you do the real definition of what a thug is, it was a real demonic type situation. Just like people have glamorized, and women say it all the time, I'm a diva, I'm a diva. But if you go back and you look at the real definition of what a diva is, it's a real demonic situation. There's a real demonic connotation attached to a diva, just as it is with a thug. But in this day and time, because of the fact that Tupac, thug life, and he made his songs on thug and all that, people loved it because they loved him, but they didn't do the research as to what a thug is. And when a woman is walking around saying, I want a thug, she need to really understand what it is she's saying that she wants. So, Anna, I see you over there. What's on your heart?
And y'all best believe I got that thug. I almost died with the thug.
A thug will kill you. Yeah, a thug will kill you. A real thug will kill you without a thought.
And see, that's never a good idea. I laugh, I'm laughing because, I didn't think yesterday to look at actually, I was already in bed, but I didn't think to look up the definition, which I normally do before a show. But truthfully, when I heard you two say that, it is true. Like, I almost died in the hands of a thug, like, for real. Like, it's not worth it. It's just, and I will say at the time, they glamorize it. I was fully rocked up. I wasn't one of these that like gold teeth or anything like that, like some of the other girls from my generation. But I had anything that I wanted.
You don't like gold teeth, shorty. You don't like thug teeth, shorty.
No, that was not cute at all. No taste to me, in my opinion. Hey, to each their own. If you like gold teeth, do your thing, But I had jewelry, I had clothes, I had everything I wanted, and that made that thug even sexier at that time. But that thug went from thug to full straight up psycho, infatuated, like obsession of, if I can't have her, nobody will. So this can always take a turn for the worse. And then you got the turn of women here and there because they want also that life, which these men normally, they don't give all the women in their life, or they would be what you call their main girl. All these women are not going to get nowhere near that. You know what I'm saying? So to them, that main girl, that main woman is the one that gets all of this, the house, the cars, this, that. So at the time, it was cute until it got really serious. And then he could not see life without me. And I nearly lost my life. So, and you guys are absolutely right. Tupac made that, and he's the best example I can give. There was a few other people that said it, but to me, it was him. He made that something really good and glamorized it. But now a lot of people under that probably went through a really hard stages in their life where they were genuinely fighting for their life. Because for me, I can speak for my ex. He could not bear anybody even being around me or even doing anything like that. Like, I got a taste of thug life for a short period of my time. I don't want to be with nowhere near anybody that's thug life. Like, I want a hardworking man. I want a man that if you've got to work 2 jobs to provide, do that. It's just not cute. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'd stand with that.
Okay. Let's go to our sister. What do you say? What's on your heart?
It's a lot. I often just remember from my studies that you have to remember the Panther Party was considered a thug. The Nation of Islam was considered thugs in the white mentality of people in the society. So, for me, I've always been in love and fascinated with Black history, and so that always got me. So my definition of thugs and the way I see people are different. I look at a thug is like Mr. Leonard said, the hate you give. And so the reason why because I ain't gonna lie, I was in love with Tupac. I said he was my husband. I was gonna marry him, and when he became Machiavelli, I was one of the ones that believed he died. I was up and say, "Come on, Tupac, we gonna go to the wherever you at, come get me. You know, we gonna do this."
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like I say, it's a fascination in that thug life. But we have to remember that our society try to treat all of us as thugs, and the hate you give, the hate that you give to me, then I have to process that hate. And whatever, just like on the great debaters, an unjust law is a law that I shouldn't have to follow. And I can either be violent or I can be non-violent, and you better pray and hope I do the latter of the two. And that was on the great debaters. So thugs in our society has transformed, like Mr. Leonard says. It has transformed into you know those that are law breaking, just like the video that came out on TikTok, how to make a nigga. That was very, very highly offensive. But you see what white American thinks, being black, not having a father, um, not making good choices. This was their ingredients on making a nigger. So they look at all of us as thugs. So we have to make sure that we define who we are. Not everybody is a thug, and our definition of thug is, hey, you give us hate. So, as long as we're doing it positively, and like Leonard said, back in the day, somebody can hurt you with their bare hands or kill you or get the mark, but we can't confuse gang members with thugs, because not all gang members are thugs, and not all thugs are gang members.
Okay.
So
Now, do you think that, and I do agree with what you're saying, and you're absolutely right, but at the same time, do you think that society ties them both together? Gang member, thug, gang member. Christy?
definitely, definitely. I feel like that is interchangeable. But I know, again, I was in my thug phase. I mean, I'm not gonna even lie. I did some things that I wasn't proud of in my thug days. Um, but it was all about family though. Those were my thugs. Those were my family. Those were my brothers. Those are people that looked out for me when I didn't have anybody else to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a thing that you look at. If it goes all the way back to our young men and our young women not having fathers in their home. It goes back to the family structures. Why do we go into the gangs? It goes into, they're searching for something. They're searching for love. And I have a dear friend of mine. She called me. She said, "Christy, I'm about to get married." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Why are you finna get married?" She said, "Because my son is asking, Mama, I need some male time. Mama, I need a man to show me this." And he's articulate. And she said, "Christy, I know this sign. He's 12 or 13 right now. So if I don't find a positive person for him to look up to, or a positive person that he can see, that he's going to turn to these streets, and then these thugs or these gang members going to show him that love that he's looking for." She
Mm-hmm.
said, "I can see it." So we as single moms, and we're raising our young kings and our young queens, we have to find that positive role model. But to my brothers, I'm like, where are they? Where are our positive role models that are going to show our children the truth and what's right, to stand up and be proud of being Black men?
Mm-hmm. Good deal. That's always a problem in the community. There's always a problem in the community. Yeah, and I'll come back to you in just one second. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? How much of who the young guys are play a part in society thinking that they're thugs?
Well, like I said, it's just to each his own. I'm not a black woman, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the feelings uh, that way towards thugs and things. It is what it is. If people call you that, they call you that. Usually depends on what you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no love for the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it wasn't this place, this Shangri-La where folks got along and everything. We was cool with our friends or whatever, but I don't do the gang thing. I've always been by myself. I got a couple of friends, but they were so dissociated from, the things. We had goals and objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thugs were not what a lot of people call them today.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to think, it wasn't glamorous. If you're around 50, you remember what it was before hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the commercialization of hip hop is what brought thugging on as being something desirable, because thugs could very easily be bums.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You know, so there was never any love whatsoever for a thug. Thugs had one purpose, and it was to do what other people wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never a decent thing. And you got some, like my wife used to would say, you know, of those of us from the hood that fit in or try to fit in or have to grow up. You know, most of
Mm-hmm.
these people that were the thugs that were made sexy and glamorous in the genre, if you notice, they've really grown up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a lot of people have this affinity for gangs and things like that because of broken homes a lot of times,
Yes.
and a need to be out in with other peers. See, I didn't have the peer pressure or whatever, you know, because I'd rather deal with myself than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never a positive thing until it was glamorized and they started washing the definitions through the media and things like that. But women wanting that's what I have a Davis and Bozeman. They go all around the country teaching thug life and how it came about and things like that. And it's to communicate the message from young men. Thugs have two endings: prison or the grave.
Mm-hmm.
This is never going to change.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if you continue to choose that life,
Mm.
that's how your life is going to end:
Mm-hmm.
prison or the grave.
Mm-hmm. And see, and the sad part about it, a lot of times there's really no in between.
No,
There's no in between. That
because you can't be and that's the thing about it. A lot of people going around talking about things that they're not. If you're not a thug, don't claim it.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just don't. I mean, it's not something that it's not a positive thing. A lot of times, once you into some mess, you stay in some mess.
Exactly. Exactly. And when we spoke earlier about what it is, what the actual definition of a thug is, man, and it's really a demonic type situation. It really is a demonic type situation, and what people don't realize or understand that because they get caught up in the glare. They get caught up in the
The
glare.
Hollywood stuff.
Exactly, exactly. We have a caller. Caller, good morning and happy birthday to you, sir. Caller,
thanks, Ryan. Thanks. Good morning, Glow family. How y'all doing? Good
man, you finally made 21, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
You sound about 50. You sound about 50 this morning, though.
Say again.
You made 21, but you sound like you're about 50 this morning, man. What's going on?
No, nothing, man. Just I'm relaxing. It's my birthday, man.
There you go.
I'm relaxing.
There you go. There you go.
Happy birthday, family.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to ya. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya.
I'm gonna have to start muting some folks, boy. They don't look. Lord, my Jesus. But Curtis,
thank y'all.
But hey, man, but on a serious tip, man, all love, man. We all love you, brother, and definitely happy birthday to you, man. But listen, Curtis, what is a thug, man? What is a thug? Tell me the definition. Tell me your definition of what a thug is.
Well, according to historical data, Thug is an Ethiopian tribe, but don't nobody want to talk about it because the term has been hijacked to suit the purpose to clearly define or to attempt to define what inner city Black youth are, or the frame of mind of inner city Black youth, or the frame of mind of inner city brown youth, the frame of mind of any youth of disparity. You know, that terminology has been placed on us for years. But the actual definition of thug, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, the thug was an Ethiopian tribe from way back, an Ethiopian tribe of fighters, to be more specific, from way back. The term thug life means the hate you gave little infants forever. And when Thug Life first hit the scene, if you was to research it, it really did not come to the scene as an initial thing of being something negative, but folks took the source that put it out there and they changed the narrative. So the narrative became the reality. And whenever a narrative becomes the reality, you got a problem. I mean, if you watch these reality shows and then you look at what's going on in the neighborhoods and all that, you can't help but realize that the narrative of who we were as a people has become the reality in the streets. I guess I got way worse. You know, the fact that people feel the need to disrespect each other before even hearing what the other one has to say.
Mm-hmm. Let me go here with you, Curtis, because I pulled this up a few seconds ago. We spoke about this earlier. A thug is these are two ancient Buddhist demons, thug and diva, and it's telling you that they're actually a demon, and it's come from a demonic type situation in the Buddhist heritage, in the Buddhist faith, is what a thug is. What do you say to that?
Well, that could be what it means on the Buddhist side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not sitting in front of the teachings right now, but the actual Thuggish tribe was an African tribe.
Mm-hmm.
That's so. I mean, it's like how can I say this? It's like taking another terminology or another word that means one thing over here, over there it means something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to dig real deep into it, but you know, for all we know, we know that there was a great migration. We know the Africans went east as well as they went west after they migrated during the Great Migration up the Nile, which spread and basically was man spreading across the world. So I mean, how do we know that, you know, that could have been a reach to make other Asians, you know,
Mm-hmm.
other Asians hate the entrance of Africans into their community.
Mm-hmm. Let me go.
That's the thuggish people. That's they demons. They devils. I'm not saying that you wrong. You know what I mean? Because it's right there. But
I'm just going off. I did a little research on it and everything. Actually, I did this a couple of days ago when I knew I was going to do this topic, and it actually talks about. I haven't seen it, and certainly not going to say that you're wrong in what you're saying, but I haven't seen the definition from the African standpoint. But I have seen in several searches that I did from the Buddhists, they even have a statue to depict what they quote unquote supposed to look like, and they have a statue for the thug as well as the diva, and none of the definitions that they have for coming forth at that time. Like I say, it's been changed. It's been changed now because Tupac, like the lady said, Tupac kind of glamorized it and made it a little something different on this side. You know, thug life. Everybody want to be a thug. Everybody want to be a thug. Thug for life. That's what they say. Thug for life. Christy, what's on your heart?
Yeah, that's the saying, thug for life. And I'm listening to everyone, and like a lot of stuff that I know I didn't know about the thug, where I didn't know about the Buddha, a demonic force of diva, because I know I say I'm a diva all day, every day, because that's just who I am. So it's, you know, it's just like to say, when you learn better, you do better. And that's what I'm gonna tell Mama Thug people. I know this is nationwide. If you consider yourself a thug, make sure it's a positive thing. Don't make it a negative. You can change anything to a positive thing. You know, we have the thug pastor, Miss Cassandra, that come on. So thug doesn't necessarily have to be a negative connotation. Um, you know, Tupac did glamorize it, but so did Nipsey Hussle, and so did, you know, Nipsey Hussle came and made it something positive, and that's, you know, that's who I look at as the epitome of a good thug. You know, he was still in the Crips, but he wanted his brothers to do something positive. And if we go back to the real, you know, if we go back to the Panther Party, I keep going back, but they were created to help our families, those that are lacking in different things. And, you know, it got infiltrated. It, you know, we all know the story behind the Black Panther Party. Same thing with Nation of Islam, same thing with Christianity. But we have to remember there are white thugs too. It's not just a black thing. We have white thugs that try to imitate and stereotype us to pretend to be something they're not. So if you are out there and if you're doing a negative thing, if you living that gangster life and you out here selling drugs and hustling in that matter, Mr. Linda Wright, two things: death or jail. If you wanna change your hustle, and you know, like I do prison ministry, and all the times I tell my prison, if you can run the streets, if you can run the streets, you can run a corporation. It's the
Exactly.
same thing, the same mentality. So
Absolutely.
it's just us having to change our mind into the thinking of God.
Good deal. Good deal. Anna, you wanted to read something?
I want to read a comment that was made on Facebook, but first I wanted to tell my Christian brothers and sisters and anybody of color. I did run across that video that was on social media. Do not click on it because you're giving those people the hits that they want. I did scroll, and you know, you can kind of see what the video's about. It was very disrespectful and disgusting. What I did see, I did not finish watching it, but don't click on it because you're giving them hits that they really don't need, because it's disgusting what I saw. And then to change the subject from that, because I know that was a conversation that was brought up. These were some of the comments that were made via our Facebook. So I'm going to read it, the live comments. So it says, "Good morning, world." And then it says, "They love thugs because they love getting disrespected." And then Raheem gave a comment asking somebody to call in. And then it says, "And treated wrong." And then I 100% agree with Anna. So I can imagine this is what I was saying, that it's not a good thing, you know? And the officers of law call us thugs nowadays. I'm not sure who the comments are from, because all it says is Facebook users. However, if you guys could, please call in and give your outlook on this, because, you know, we want to hear it from every side. We want to hear if you are thugging it out right now, or if you were at one point in your life, or if you were with that thug and you made that mistake. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is what you deal with today. What we're trying to figure out is what it is. I did not know, thank you. I did not know what an actual thug was in throughout history, which is kind of disturbing. And I'm sure Tupac was very educated, as many of us know. I was very young and I did follow Tupac and never thought of that. Even the word diva, I have used it with my children, which makes you kind of think that you bring things around your children and around your household that maybe you should think twice and maybe do a deeper research into it, because now it's making me think, have I said or done the wrong thing? And you know, out of our mouth we speak abundance, you know what I'm saying? And so out of our tongue. So it makes me wonder, have I even brought things around, you know, because I would say from generation to generation we continue cursing or blessing our household. So, you know, and I normally do research. I did not this morning, and I'm kind of upset with myself because I would have been all kinds of ready for this and laughing and ready to go. But, you know, it's still that, Tupac did glamorize it, but Tupac was very aware of a lot of things. Tupac's music was very much ahead, and he spoke of revolutionary type things that are true to this day, that maybe others would not even dare at that time. I mean, we had a few artists from that time that did speak truth and did not care what anybody thought and made a big change. So for me to even hear, at times I do, I'll flip stations and hear some of the stuff. I don't even understand it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't get it. I'm still, whatever, because I just like music. But with that being said, I want, or we all want, from this panel, for all of you guys to call in, like whatever stage you are in life, because we want to hear from different aspects. What is it that makes you either be a thug? How do you treat the women around you? What made you be a thug? What attracts you to that thug? Is it what he can give you? Or are you like with me and Christy, that there are all kinds of thugs in every aspect in life? I truly believe that you can be a thug at work and just be running things, and so, but at the same time, for me to see what a thug is, it just makes me think, I really don't want to be around a thug now, for real. And I don't want my children around any type of thug. I'm going to be like, you're a what? You can't be around my babies.
Hey, Anna, you know what would be a good comparison for our Hispanic listeners to this whole issue? You're familiar with muerta, right?
Well, muerte would be what in Puerto Rico we call nieta. Nieta is like, so nieta is like, and I'm hoping you're talking about the same thing. It's a notorious gang for just destroying things, or it's like an MS-13.
But they celebrate, but a lot of that is steeped in
El Día de los Muertos.
That's what you're talking about. The goddess of death, right? The goddess of death.
The Day of the Dead.
Well, Hindus' comparison to the goddess of death is Kali. Kali is the goddess of death, and it almost means black. It's a Hindu, and that Hindu goddess is also referred to sometimes as Shiva, which is probably where the root of the word diva comes from.
Yeah, no more divas in my house. I
need y'all to quit taking away my diva status. I need y'all to stop taking away my diva now. I need that in my life. I need y'all to stop right now.
Now I'm Queen A. I hope that doesn't get ruined for me too. I'm Queen A.
Sherry. Good morning, Sherry. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Sherry, what is a thug, Sherry? What is a thug?
Me, I used to be a thug, but I was a bougie thug.
You don't want to be a thug.
I really tell them, sister, because I was right there with you. I was a bougie thug, man. I mean, I used to fight, here and there. We used to fight just because we had a neighborhood gang. It's like we'll be bored and just start fighting, and it's like if you hit me in my face, I got to
Sherry, y'all were not a thug. Y'all were not gang. Y'all just didn't have no toys, didn't have nothing to do.
I had I pistol with the girl.
What?
I pistol with the girl. Yeah, I did. I was thugging for real. I was for real thug. I got hit with a tennis racket. I threw some stuff at people. I slashed tires and stuff. I did.
You girls are Christians.
but see, all things are passed away. All things are passed away. We are renewed by the blood of the Lamb.
Amen.
Sherry's in a sea of forgiveness. Yes. We are saved. Sanctified.
Don't run
filled with the Holy Ghost.
Don't run across no fisher. Don't run across no fishermen and go in there and fish it out and present.
No. But see, I'm in love with the Holy Ghost. I'm in love with the Holy Ghost. Hey. Jesus is my friend.
Look here, y'all.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Let me use Let me use my mute button because boy, y'all done got sidetracked on.
Come on now, right here. It's Monday morning.
There we go. Let me use my mute button. Leonard,
Come on.
Leonard. What's on your heart, Leonard? What's on your heart, brother? The women, they done took their own turn. I don't know where they going.
Well,
Well,
of course, you started talking about something else that reminded me of some stuff that I had been to in the community. I hadn't revisited in a minute about that discussion about thug life. It was several years ago, but that was one of the things that they were pointing out to young men who thought that being, a lot of the guys had thugs somewhere tattooed on their body, I think, in the meetings and things of that nature. And the brother, Davidson Bozeman, there's a law firm. And so they defend a lot of people in the community and things like that. And they were doing that from city to city.
Yeah.
That seminar about the history of thug life, as I was saying, like as Kurt said, that was about the hate you gave the children. I mean, just that type of hatred towards people, especially because of our skin. This is what created that type of life. And like Christy and them said, now it's changed. So, I mean, diva used to be difficulties. It's about being a difficult person to work with. But now it's glamorized as being like a queen almost. But even the celebrities who got started, it was an inside joke to call them divas because they were so hard to work with. And a lot of it, even those words and things like that, are from a feminist tradition of being female, hard to get along, and a female who insists on her power above anything else, I would say. And so that's how they started calling one another divas and stuff. Like I say, it could be a translation from Shiva. You never know.
Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
It just brought it up. Still to the day, I'm gonna tell you, I just a little while back, I just did a show, and a young lady was supposed to be in the show, and the director didn't work with her because he was like, man, she's a diva, she's gonna be too hard to work with, and basically in his mind, it would hurt the production. But I sometimes I just see that. I remember the days that I was thugging or whatever I call myself doing. Cause I really don't think I was like thugging, but I've grown to understand that sometimes we have to be careful the words that we put on our own community or the words that we allow to put on our own community. I'll tell you something, I just learned that I didn't know. I didn't know that the term, the end term was hijacked.
Yeah.
You know that, Rodney?
Say it again.
I did not know that the N word was hijacked. To be a negative connotation on the Black community.
Yeah, because the original it came from original word, and they actually switched it over here to mean something different. Yes, Niger, if I'm not mistaken, Niger.
Niger. And the way that the American white male pronounced it was neighbors. Neighbors.
Yeah.
And the actual meaning of the word stands for prince and or king.
Rulers, absolutely, rulers.
So I mean, as I get older now, the form of thugging that we kind of grew up with, the images that we kind of grew up with, being honest, man, it's gonna destroy the community because it has allowed for the power structure in our American culture and society to use that terminology to justify inappropriate behavior. towards a select community. And, you know, I, I, I've grown to understand that, you know, if a person is a diva, 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 if a person and many times have allowed for people to get sentenced with these extremely large sentences, prison sentences, just based solely off the word. So,
absolutely.
like, you know what? If we can just label this young man a thug, you know, in this case, I look at Trayvon Martin. When you look at Trayvon Martin, when you look at how that thing was broke down, that young boy was labeled a thug. You see what I'm saying? And because of that label, you know, certain segments in society accepted his killing as something proper. You know, that's just where I'm at with it right now. I mean,
good deal. Good deal. Let's keep this.
But I do understand what everybody's saying.
Okay.
You know, about look, you know.
Good deal. Let me keep this thing going. Hold on, Kurt. I'm coming right back to you. Sherry, what's on your heart?
I just want to say happy birthday, Kurt. Love you.
Love you too, my man. Thank you.
Hey. You're welcome. And also, like far as like the definition of thug is my understanding is somebody who is a gangbanger who gets beat into a gang and they start terrorizing their community. But that stems back from years ago, because if we start back from, you know, how Columbus how they got to America, they came and started thugging. They killed everybody and just said this is America, and they just claimed it for what it was. So basically it's the same thing. So thugging started way back then, and then, you know, they went over to Africa, started killing folks and bringing them over here. That's stealing. That's taking what's not yours. So it's like one and the same.
Hold on.
Oh, my bad.
No, Leonard. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, we've said several times. We've said that thug and gang member are hand in glove. Is that really the case?
Most of the time it is. If you're doing dirt, you're a thug.
But does it necessarily mean you're in a gang or a gang member?
Well, I'm not sure. You don't have to be in a gang to be a thug.
That's what I'm asking you. That's the question I'm asking you.
No, you don't have to be in a gang.
Why are we tying it together? Why are we tying it together?
Because it's popular. That's what's been presented to you in the media. That's what you have accepted. That's why you use it that way.
I
don't get them confused in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying, because I know a lot of people that, you know, thugs and have been thugs, say they're thugs and want to live their life as a thug, but they're not in a gang at all.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of thugs. You don't, like I say, you don't have to be in a gang. Most gang members are thugs. Now, I don't care all this fancy stuff people want to put around it. No. No, we know how you know how you make your money. You know how you live. You know how you carry on. Like Anna said, she got a chance to live and see what their life was really about. It's not a positive thing at all. So I'm not really sure, you know. I think there's a lot of risk and the thrill associated with it. There's a lot of instant gratification with it, but there's no future in it. So that the stability is not there. But as far as excitement, if you get off on hurting especially innocent people and things of that nature, you're more likely to identify with this whole thug thing, you know, from that perspective. But now sometimes, like a lot of my wife will say, and I shouldn't be, well, here it is. I can be in a suit and a tie. But if you say the wrong thing to me,
come on,
it will go left really bad.
Yeah, that tie coming off.
And then I will really come at you. But I'm not a thug. I just insist on being respected.
Good deal.
So,
Good deal.
You know,
Anna, what's on your heart? Talk to me.
Leonard, you couldn't have said that better. And that's what I learned. And even with my ex, I'll tell you, it was kind of weird because I knew he was doing things he shouldn't be doing. But a lot of it was, and that's my naiveness, because of course I was sheltered. I would be like, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. You know what I'm saying? But throughout the years of us being together, I realized a lot of things, and a lot of things I was not okay with. So it was that whole rush of, and I'll tell you this, a whole rush of, baby, I got you 3 rings instead of 1. And it's like, oh my God, thank you. You know, your eyes are so, you know, or baby, here goes some money. Let's go shopping. And you never really understand, where is this coming from? Who has been hurt, or who might have not been hurt? Where might have that drug deal came from? And that's why I want to hear from other people, because for me, I'm very transparent. I tell it how it is. Okay. And for me, that's what it was. I did not know a lot of what was going on, and I would believe anything he told me. He was a little bit older than me. I would believe what he told me, and it was like, wow, this man will do anything for me. Throughout the years, I have found out that that's not the man that does everything for you, because when there was a situation that he did go through some legal matters, we'll just say it that way, guess who had to be there? That main girl. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about any other girl, you know. And like I said, I'm not proud, and I don't by any chance, I will tell women, get out, and men as well, because I've seen men go through this. There's men that actually date thug women, whether y'all believe it or not. They're, for whatever reason they do, they have their reasoning. Please seek help. Seek help. Get out of there, because it can turn very sour very quick. In my case, the person had a total obsession. There was no way they were going to let me go and let anybody else date me, period. So, you know, it can go south really, really quick. Just love yourself enough to go ahead and help yourself enough to get out of all that. And I'll tell you, Raheem, it is not an easy situation. It's all glamorizing, and it's all like, you know, anywhere that you go, it's VIP, it's this and that, but you really don't know what that person did. And not all thugs, and I'm gonna make this perfectly clear. Not every thug wears what us women from back in my generation considered attractive, which was the baggy jeans, the team shirts, stuff like that. A lot of times they'll be there with a 3-piece suit. So remember that not every thug is what it appears to be. So keep that in mind as well, because not every thug is what you think every thug is. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Let me go get another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? That's good, Anna. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning, Tucson. How you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Donald, we asking a question, brother. What is a thug?
I don't know. So, you know what? I had to look it up before I give an answer, but and I'm gonna put my other version so the rest of you can read what I looked up. Don't have to be true, because it depends on what information you get. It defines its own set. But it's kind of a, you know, a person that desires, as far as we know, to live a rough life. Play the game. You know, it's kind of like, don't hate the game, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh yeah, Donald.
I know that's right. Oh.
So enough said. There you go.
And see, yeah. But Donald, let me ask you this question: is a thug always aggressive? Is a thug always that guy or girl that's gonna just go out there and get it at any cost? Or can they have some compassion in them?
You know what? A real thug, true thug, to me, he don't put himself out there. He let somebody else do it. He run things. You know, I'm talking about a true thug.
Okay.
He know the game.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them just playing the game.
Exactly. That's good.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You hear what I'm saying? Because some people, they want to be, they'll want to get out there and act stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But a true dog, he ain't stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He know how to survive. Because he out there. He been there, done that.
Okay. Now, I've heard several people, and I know Felicia, she said it in the feed as well. Felicia Dearman, a real good friend of mine, we actually went to school together. She said that if you could run the streets, then you could run the boardroom. Leonard, is that true? Leonard, is that true? If an individual could run the streets effectively, like a business, could they also in turn switch that up, turn that switch off, go into the boardroom and be very successful? What do you say to that, Leonard?
It really depends. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people say that. It's great to say, but it takes a little bit more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because really thugs are not really great leaders. They don't have the skills necessarily to build relationships with people other than criminals. So you have to think of the context of their success. The context of their success is usually in a field of people that are not as smart as they are. They are usually exploiting the weaknesses of individuals around them, as opposed to being true leaders. They're just taking advantages of the weaknesses of other people.
So, are you saying, Leonard, that the street rules and the street laws that things that run the street would not cross over to a boardroom?
No.
Now you got this guy He have 50 people working for him on that corner on the streets.
Right.
And he have to manage and navigate and make sure everything is right, make sure the product is right, make sure the numbers are right, make sure nobody's trying to get him here, get him there, and watch his back at the whole time. He can't take that from what he's been doing for this amount of time and be flipped into the boardroom and be successful. He can't do it.
No.
Wow.
No. Okay. It takes a special kind of person to be successful in anything, and it don't just cross over. I mean, some people say that it's a motivational tool to let people know who are involved in drugs or who may be managing things like that, to let them know that they can be successful in the corporate world as well. But it may only have something to do with the fact that they have a way with words, or they may be nice looking. They may dress nice. They may have a good demeanor, but most of the time their success is based on fear and intimidation and criminal behavior. That does not really fit in corporate America. You have to make it look a whole lot better. You have to learn a whole new game of rules. And what is success to the person on the street may not be attractive at all to what is successful in the boardroom. You understand?
So you're saying this joke gonna go into the boardroom and get itself fired?
It's a it's a lifestyle that is attractive in thug life.
Okay.
It's the lifestyle.
I got you. Sherry, what do you say to that? Do you think is there's a possibility that this person could cross over and be successful in the boardroom?
I actually knew somebody who was like that. They were like in the beginning stages of building something. I kind of sort of dated them briefly. I thought it was the end thing when I was younger. I think I was like 22. He was a lot older than me. He was like 45-ish. That was wrong from front to the end, the beginning to the end. But yeah, he told me he sold drugs for probably 5 or 6 years. He stacked his paper and he used his money to start several different businesses, and he was like on his way to moving on up. I don't know what he's doing now. And I still think he was doing some shady dealings, but he was on his way to that point. And his whole demeanor was different than some of the people I knew of, that were selling drugs and was living that thug life and everything. But he was making his way up there. I don't know how he is now. Don't care. That was, 18 years ago. But I mean, he was trying to. So, I don't know. So I guess it depends on, how, if he changed his mindset, what type of people he was dealing with. I just know he had his hands in a lot of different things. Got
you. Curtis, what do you say to that, man? Do you think there's a transition? Do you think it's a transition? Do you think it's impossible? Do you think it's something that can happen? What do you say to that, Kurt?
Yeah, man. I know dudes personally that them transition from the streets to the boardroom and been extremely effective. I know a dude right now.
Well, Cody, let me ask you. Hold on, Cody. Before you go on, let me ask you this: how much of a transition? How much did they have to change? Because just like Leonard said, man, a lot of the stuff that you do on the street, you can go out there and intimidate people on the street and make sure that what you want to happen. You go out there and intimidate them in a certain way. You tell them, look here, if you ain't got what I got, I'm coming to get you. You know what I mean? I'm coming after you. You can't do that same thing in the boardroom. The conversation, the verbiage have to be totally different. So how did they make that transition?
The verbiage has to be different. Most of those guys, most of the guys I know went through their transition and they had a mentor or they re-educated themselves so that they could learn the terminology of the boardroom. But man, let me tell you, man, look, man, I'm not going to try and clean it up for them, man. Some of the biggest thugs in American history was in the boardroom. What are we? Come on, man. I'll give you one example of. Okay, so what are we limiting the terminology thug? Are we limiting the terminology thug just to the Black and brown community? Because if you really, really take what we're defining a thug is, it's all in business.
But Curtis, that's the thing. That's the thing right there, Curtis. Hold on, Curtis. That's the thing right there.
Let me finish my thought, bro. Let me finish my thought. Because you're not forget stuff. Prime example is, I'm curious to know, how many people ever actually looked into the stock market crash at 29? The stock market crash at 29 was actually caused by three people. Three people that did not care about society, did not care about the men and women that would be affected, did not care about the lives that would be affected, did not care about the money, who money they was taking or anything. The stock market crash in 29 was caused by Carnegie, J.P. Morgan Chase, and I always forget the third dude's name. They caused it, and then once they caused it, they went before the president and told him that, look, don't worry about it, we'll bail the country out. All at the same time, they caused the crash to start. So I think what we got to understand is, what are we defining as a thug? Are we saying?
But see, Kurt, that's the whole thing right there. Hold on, Kurt. Hold on for a second. That's the whole thing right there. It's based on definition. Because if you look a certain way and you perform certain acts, then you're going to be categorized as a thug. But if you look totally different and you perform those same acts in a boardroom, you are a smart and a wise businessman. So the verbiage is totally different. And so I think that's what the problem is. We could say that the person that's doing the evil and corrupt things in the boardroom, we could say that they're a thug. But everybody else's verbiage of them is going to be quote unquote, like Donald Trump, the guy that's done all these things throughout history, and had all these bankruptcies and all these different things. Now people say, well, he's a wise businessman. How could he be a wise businessman when he don't even know how to run a business? Yeah, it's a lot of. Wrap it up, Curtis. We got a couple other people on the phone, right? Wrap it up for me.
I'm gonna piggyback you on that. Yes, the verbiage is different, but the accents are the same. If you take the guy on the street corner and he's selling drugs and he getting in fights, physical fights, and this, that, and the third, right? Over territory. We're saying he a thug, but are we saying that the businessman that's in the courtroom that's brutally beating people to get them to move, having other people beat people to get them to move out of community, or doing things to minimize the economic base in a community, to the point of maiming people or hurting people's livelihood to get them to move out? Are we saying that he's a smart businessman? The same man that's robbing banks, with legal documentation, he's robbing the bank? Are we saying that he's a smart businessman, or are we saying that he's a thug? So I think the verbiage is different, but in all reality, the actions are the same. Just one has been passed as okay, and the other one has been seen by the narrative as something worse. If that's the case, I'll end with this right here so you can move on. Okay, so the guy on the street corner that's selling the drugs, the seller, is the thug. But what about the distributor that's walking around in a $4,000 suit?
Good point.
That's actually bringing the drugs in. What about the congressman that know it's on the boat and allowing for it to come in? Is he not thuggish?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's keep this there. As a matter of fact, we got if I'm not mistaken, I think we have the thug pastor. I think we have the thug pastor with us. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Hey, doing good.
That's the help you give, Pastor. The help you give.
There you
Pastor.
go.
That's me.
There you go.
The help you give. Yeah, that's me.
Exactly. We're asking a question this morning, Cassandra, and I want to hear your heart on this. What is a thug?
Okay, if we're dealing with the slang, because we know that there are two definitions slang-wise. One is someone doing criminal activity. Okay, the other is someone that's trying to make it, they're doing whatever, well, not whatever, but they're doing what they have to do to try to make it. So there are two definitions on the slang term. Okay, so I'm all with those that are doing what they have to do, and it's almost like grinding, what you call grinding.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with Curtis when it comes to the terminology when it comes to people of color, and then when it comes to other people doing the same thing, because this country was built on thug mentality. Total thug mentality. You have some of the biggest thugs in this country were Jewish mafia, Italian mafia, Russian mafia, and you talk about gangs. The gang, the stuff these kids doing don't even compare to some of this. And these people became some of the biggest businessmen in this country, but they were originally a part of organizations that were considered what we call thugs now. So you know, I just, you know, I hate when it's always a label for us, but when other people do it, you know what I'm saying? Like Kurt said, they're good businessmen. You know what I'm saying? They were just trying to make it. But these people did liquor, which was illegal at the time, and they built empires selling liquor illegally. I mean, that's why we have to take charge of who we are and what we're trying to do. Because like I said, I think one of the biggest thugs right now in this country is 45.
Yeah.
He acts just like a mob boss. You don't tell me this man does not act just like a mob boss. He does things just like the mafia. So don't, you know, we good to quick to label ourselves, to talk about who we are, what we do, but then we see other people as business people. I don't get that.
Exactly. Neither do I. Anna, what's on your heart?
Cassandra and Curtis, that's why I really admire you two as my Christian brothers and sisters, brother and sister, along with the rest of the panel. But you guys couldn't have said it better. When you talk about Christopher Columbus, and I can speak for the Caribbean, they totally destroyed who we were as people. We are of Taino Indian descent. They brought in Africans through slave ships as slaves, and the Spaniards would go and rape our women, Africans, and that's why we became 3 different cultures, which is a beautiful thing. But you know, they ruined who we were as people. And anybody who reads about the Taino culture, we were just so loving and wanted to help others. And so we accepted the Spaniards coming in. What they did was thuggish, whether anybody believes it or not. Our commander in chief, what he's doing is thuggish. We have had other people of other different cultures do the same thing, and it is thuggish. It is not right. And yes, when we do, like I said, Tupac glamorized a lot of it. To me, Tupac's music, like I said, at the time was what I grew up listening to. I absolutely loved his music, not saying that it is okay, a lot of the things he spoke about, because I am a Christian today. However, when something still, you listen to it 20, 30 years later, and you're like, man, I mean, what he spoke about, we're still dealing with today. It spoke truth. And there has been so many attacks within so many people. I admire certain governments for being like, no, it's not happening here. And people might not agree with what they're saying, but no, it's not happening here because I'm not having it, because this is who we are and you're not going to change us. If you guys look into the history of Hawaii, and I can only speak of that because it's something that I have learned about. They also come from Indian, Filipino, and all of that descent. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but they were also, when they became a state, a lot of who they were was taken away from them because it became a state. So I want you guys to also remember one thing, and I said this earlier, the thug is not only who you see wearing the baggy jeans. Well, today they wear tight pants, I guess, which I don't agree with. Not cute, but you know, wearing that and wearing their Tims back in my generation. And those were the thugs that, you know, were glamorized. But I have said it once and I'll say it a million times. That is not the only thug out there. If you go back to other movies of us even growing up, it was always the guy with the three-piece suit. It was always the guy who was on top of the business that was the one that was really thugging it out and really doing these mass killings, so forth, so on. So don't think for 1 minute that it is only, to me, the people that are doing it under are just kind of following, if that makes sense.
Good deal.
But the one on the top is the one calling all those cards and really thugging it out in a negative way, and really having these young men, and I'll speak for the brown and black community, really having these young men, especially, and a lot of our women, being incarcerated for long periods of time, especially women, to the point where we cannot procreate. So think about that, and think about all of that before you do something thuggish, being at the bottom of the barrel, you know?
Good deal. We have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Who you talking to?
You. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Greetings, fam. How you doing? Your brother and servant, brother Pete.
Pete, what's going on, man? Hey, doing good, doing good. Pete, we're asking.
I was, you know, data calculator. I'm sorry.
We're asking a question, Pete. What is a thug? What are you saying, man? What is a thug?
A thug, in my opinion, is an individual who has the mentality and determination to accomplish their objectives at all costs. Okay, there are no morals and principles on the table. At all costs, whatever it takes to accomplish mission is what they are about. And that is riddled throughout the existence of this society, of the world right now. Governments have a semblance of being thuggish. Corporations absolutely have a semblance of being thuggish. The judiciary is completely thuggish. The Congress and the Senate are full of thugs. They use intimidation, they use power, they put pressure on you throughout all of these areas. The sister just talked about the judicial issue. That's a whole, it's not about justice, the dividing of right and wrong, so much as it is about commerce, making money off of individuals. You as shadow people, active commodity that we can trade and move and sell to our benefit. You jaywalked, we give you 3 years. Are you serious? You didn't have your seatbelt on, it was a $3,000 fine, huh? I mean, you know, this stuff is outrageous. You don't have a job, you and the girl separated, the wife divorced, you can't pay your child support, but we're gonna lock you up because you can't pay your child support. Well, how are you supposed to pay child support? You're gonna pay it for 25 cents an hour? I mean, it's just the whole structure is full of thuggery. And we talk about street gangs. Someone earlier, my dear sister, and kudos to you, sister, for commenting on that. This society was built up off of groups that they identified, lightly called, you know, quietly identified as being gangs. And that's where you build your base of structure. In every ethnicity, they've had an element within their body that would shake down the business owners and shake down the different ones that had money to keep a little undercurrent of commerce going within their own structure. You know, the right here in America, in Chinatown, there's some serious gangstering going on right there in Chinatown. You know, we're not aware of it, we're not privy to it, but it's known, it's a fact, it exists. So thuggery is somewhat of a cultural trait on this planet. It kind of involves power structure and individuals that want to get out. It's strange. It's a blessing. It's good to see, but it's strange. It's not often that we find someone that is pursuing power or has a position in commerce that is you know, has a strong footprint, and they have morals.
Good deal. Hold on, Pete. We're gonna come back to you, brother. I got another caller. I want to get to this other caller. 1 second, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Apostle Rob.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. I was gonna send you a video link, get you on a video with us. I don't know if you're in a position to do that or not, but what is a thug?
Well, the word thug is actually originally a word that originated in India in the 1800s. And these thugs were a tribal people. And according to what is reported, they were people that would, assail strangers or travelers or what have you. And they would like befriend them and then rob them. Or in some cases, it's reported that they would murder people. And, so, but however, there's another side to the story. And that is that these thugs, so-called, were tribal cats who lived in the forest in India. And when the British invaded India, they wanted to take the forest, which where these thugs lived. So the thugs fought back. So then, according to a lot of reports, the British put out propaganda that these thugs were murderers, they were thieves, they were robbers, in order to come up with the Parliament came up with the Criminals Tried Act in 1871, and under that act, it gave them permission to kill these thugs and anyone else that was standing in their way. They were considered thugs, and that sounds eerily familiar to me. Yes, sir, absolutely. Cassandra, let me ask you this question: why is it that Cassandra, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Why is it that every time people, black and brown people, go against the grain, against the people that's trying to destroy them or put them in a place that's less than, why is it when we fight back, we're considered thugs? And the narrative is that we're thugs, we're not this, we're not good patriotic, we're not that. They put all these negative connotations on us because of the fact that we fight back and we're not allowing them to do what it is they want to do to us. Why is that?
Well, to tell you the truth, we do let them do it nowadays. There was a time, and we can go just right back to the civil rights era. Now, when that's what they called us. Think about it. They called Dr. King and the other civil rights leaders, they called them thugs. They labeled them thugs. They took pictures of them. They have police records and all because they were doing what? Standing up for what was right, trying to change the wrongs that have been done to us and still being done to us throughout our history in this country. So that right there, and can I just, I'm gonna throw this in because you know I direct the only lynching reenactment in the world, right?
Yes.
North Forthridge. Okay. With lynchings, right? Those people were the grocery store owners, the police department, police officers, the mayor of the cities. Those were the people that actually killed, lynched. Thousands of them sometimes would lynch one or two black people, but they weren't considered thugs. If black people had killed one, come on now, let's flip it. Had killed one, and they were considered patriotic because they went out there by the thousands and gathered up to kill one black man or one black woman, but they weren't considered thugs. It's just so double-sided in this country when it comes to people standing up for their rights.
That's good. Pete, what's on your heart? And Sherry, coming to you next.
Well, I think originally we asked, and I respect my brother Leonard strongly, and I don't want to go against what he was saying so strong, but can we convert it from the street level and then take it on into the boardroom? I think the potential is there, but when you look at the merits and the rudiments of really running a corporation, the legality, when you look at the financial side, it's going to take a little bit more than some street knowledge to actually be able to run a Fortune 5 or 100 corporation.
Pete, let me ask you this: is when you say that, are you talking about the way that they run it, or are you talking about the way that we would run it? Because there's two different things. Well, what's to say that the way that they're running it is right?
I personally know myself too, individuals who are involved in untoward behavior and work themselves over the years, and they own property, they own businesses, they actually made the dollar amount that they were after, and they relinquished all activity and all association with anyone related to that. After receiving, that last dollar that they were after, and they completely left that lifestyle alone. And now everything is legitimate. The Italian mafia is known for converting themselves out of illegal things into legal things. So that potential is there. But what I'm saying is, when you're really talking about running a corporation, it is some other. You're gonna definitely need a lawyer on that. You're gonna need somebody with some serious legal contractual understanding, contract knowledge, as well as the financial arena. It's not just making money and depositing it into the bank. It's all about the bond issues and different things like that you have to educate yourself on or have that knowledge. So there would be some challenges to actually converting it over to a legal business. Of course, contract with entity and make a smooth transition. That is why the focus is to keep us at a street gang level and never amass a power structure
exactly.
Tribe and be able to convert it over to legitimate business. Because then we interrupt the ownership. The ownership changes in the face of commerce will change.
Good deal. Sherry, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I was just sitting there taking notes. I was just thinking about how we have been labeled over centuries. And it started from the European Americans, like I was saying earlier, that we were people over in Africa. We were enslaved, brought over here. We were beat. They stole this country. That's a thug. You stole. You killed all these people so you could have something that was not yours. You just took it. And then thinking about everything else that transpired over time is that we were slaves. We had to do we had to build the country. And then when we stopped wanting to do that, we were considered lazy because we didn't want to work for free. And when we start fighting back, we were considered as thugs and criminals because we got tired of being beat down, busted up, and we got tired of it. When we rioted because enough was enough, we were labeled all these different terms, which basically you created from the beginning. And it's like, far as the selling drugs and everything, we're like the low men on the totem pole. We're not bringing this stuff in. It's people in the Congress and Washington, all them people, they got their hands in the pot. Certain things was considered illegal because if they are not getting their cut, it's illegal. A lot of people were put in jail. Back in the hood, we call it popcorn pimping or whatever. You the low man on the totem pole. So it's like they get rid of the small thugs and lock them up. They say they're cleaning up the streets. But how did they get the drugs? They didn't create that.
Exactly.
It came from somebody. So basically, the thing of it is that it's a higher up. It's a ladder. We're at the bottom of the ladder. So they put us away. They give us so much time. It's ridiculous. And if we try to snitch, they hire somebody to take us out either in prison or before we can even testify, they taking us out. And they putting us in prison. We're giving us time in prison. Like, okay, to sell a bag of weed, you get 30 years for that. But yes, let someone else of another race do it, or they get a slap on the wrist maybe a year.
Yep, exactly. Let me go to Curtis. Curtis, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, big bro.
Nino Brown. You know Nino Brown.
Yeah,
Nino Brown said he's going.
No, you didn't.
He's going to take over the Carter. He had a plan. He's going to take over the Carter. The ones that want to walk with us. Or the ones that don't, we just take them out. They say he was a thug. But is that not the same thing that our Caucasian brothers and sisters came on here when they're dealing with the Indians on this land?
It ain't no different, man. It ain't no different. Y'all done heard me say this countless times. And I only say this because I'm a fervent believer in it. Capitalism without a conscience is corruption. The breakdown of what that means is, I'll just throw it out there for everybody that's on this broadcast and everybody that's listening. Capitalism is our ability or our belief in making money. That's a basic breakdown. I mean, there's some other terminologies I could throw in there, but at the end of the day, it's all about the flow of currency and making currency, right? So with all of us on this radio station right now, all of us under the sound of my voice right now, if we found out today that we could all team up, we could create a drug, market the drug, set the price for the drug, sell the drug, then we had to investigate ourselves, prosecute ourselves, defend ourselves, and then sentence ourselves. The question is, how much time would we spend in jail?
Not a day.
Not a day. So, being a thug is if we're gonna go with the narrative, then we gotta make the narrative. We got to make the narrative. We got to take that narrative across the board, because if we just take the narrative that's been given us and we place it one place, you see what I'm saying? It's you remember how Mama and them used to say, Raheem, you gonna throw the rock and hide the hand?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that they doing. They doing. The thing of it is to do a old petty larceny trick. What they used to call them, pocket picker trick. You understand? If I can get you to concentrate on me looking at your watch, you won't even see me going to your coat to get your wallet.
Exactly.
If I can get you concentrated on the fact that I'm going to bump into you to take your wallet, you won't even recognize me stealing your watch. So that's, in so many words, that this is my opinion. That is what is going on. What's going on is they have put out this narrative. Pay attention to all the black and brown and poor white folk over here, because they're the ones that's taking from you, middle class folk. They're the ones that's taking from you. While all at the same time, while the middle class black and white folk is looking at these poor black and white folk and brown folk, they looking at them. These mugs is coming right in their back door and taking their TV right out the back.
Exactly. We're good.
You know what I mean?
We're going to take it in this order right here. We're going to go Apostle. We're going to go Anna, Apostle, and then Leonard. Anna, what's on your heart?
I know some people that can still crip walk. I have a comment to read. It's actually two of them. One of them says, a thug is a position in organized crime, low man on the totem pole, chosen for dirty jobs no one else does. And then somebody else wrote bait and switch. So I like the way this conversation has gone because it's kind of taken away from how it was glamorized, how it started out. Because, you know, when you say thug, to me, the first thing that came to my mind was Pac and, you know, the whole thug life. But it has gone so many ways from.
Hold on,
I'm sorry?
No, I'm sending the caller. Hold on, caller. We're going to come to you in just 1 second. Hold on, okay? Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, so it's came from anywhere from what the true definition is of thug and diva, which I'm actually going to do my research. I'm so excited to do this once we get off air, to you know, the difference of what it is to be up top, because I'm a firm believer that you don't have to be that thug that's hustling out on the street. And for anybody to think, and you know, Leonard, we agree on a lot of things, and I do highly respect you, you know, and we are all entitled to our own opinions. I also believe that a lot of these so-called street thugs, they have their own businesses. They're just behind closed doors, and we all know this. However, they do what they do. You know, obviously they're not able to do certain things that maybe the rest of us will do because it takes education. Now, I want each and every one of you guys to keep something in mind. A lot of times while they're sitting in there and they're incarcerated and they were smart enough to keep money or put money away, whatever the case may be, none of my business. I don't care what anybody does with their life. However, that we're smart enough to do that and smart enough to educate themselves, trust and believe that they're running some type of business out there. So with that being said, these so-called thugs are not as dumb as a lot of people think. And it's just my opinion. I would like to see every circle and every walk of life call in, because I do want to hear like these different aspects that you guys look at. Because again, it starts from the top on down to the bottom. The sad part about it is that the one on the bottom is the one that faces that life sentence for those 30, 40 years, or maybe back when I was a teenager, was some marijuana charges. And crack cocaine or stuff like that. And again, I'm not glamorizing anything of that nature because this is a Christian station. However, the facts need to be spoken where they're at, because I've seen other people that got a slap in the hand for the same charges, you know.
Exactly. Let me do this right here. I know I said I had a rotation. When I have another caller, I don't know how much time we have with that particular caller. So caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Vasquez.
Hey, Vasquez, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, doing well. We're asking the question this morning, and thank you for calling in. We definitely appreciate you calling in this morning. What is a thug?
A thug?
I know that, boy.
Exactly.
I mean, depending how you're going to use it, or that would be one way of searching for what it is that I'm going to be thugging for. Right? I mean, and I think that thug is a title for organized crime. I think that thugs are people that actually have that lifestyle and live on that. Now, I would rather say, if we're going to use it as Christianity, I would rather go and say, no, man, we're just soldiers of God. You know, we're just soldiers of God. We put ourselves on the line here. We risk our lives for the protection of our family, loved ones, in order to give them prosperity, give them provision, give them some sort of stability. You know, we go out there and make that happen. But that's through God.
Yes.
It's not just because, oh, I've been blessed and I got this career and I'm able to, you know, do all this nice and great stuff because of my hard earning.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was a blessing, and this blessing is that I'm able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm a soldier of God. You know.
Yes.
He gives you wisdom. He gives you understanding, acknowledgement. He gives you vision. He gives you that focus. He gives you that listening ear for you to be able to distinguish what's what and what's being said and what's being meant behind all that. What's the purpose? All this right here, all that is being given to you, those are blessings.
Mm-hmm.
That's your weapon, man. That's your armor. That's right there. You know, you gotta learn how to use that. Not everybody knows that. You know, I mean, anybody can say, "Oh man, I'm a thug. I did this when I was a young kid. I used to sell drugs and I used to carjack and why not, man? Make money like that. I'm a thug. Hey, you ain't nothing. Hey, you ain't nothing. You haven't even started.
Yeah.
What a thug life is to be like. I mean, I was never a thug, but I can tell you that I was on both sides of the right and the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I was a little smarter than most of my friends growing up. I don't even, if I tell you that I have 2 of them that are still alive, I think that's a lot because every one of them are either sitting in jail or, you know, they're dead.
Wow.
On the other side, I mean, you know, I've been very lucky. I mean, I've been very lucky to the point where I've seen my life flash in front of me. And mind you, I'm not a thug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thugging. I was just doing, you know, what a young teenager would do, thinking that he's a bad boy. That's what we were called back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a bad boy right there. You know, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's got the cars, he's got the jewelry, he got money, man. Who's he? That was that. But that wasn't fun, man. That's a lot of danger, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And but when you start looking at life different and you start learning, wait a minute, man. It's not that I was lucky, it's that God was there with me all the way.
Yes.
Every step of the way, he was there.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you know, you come to find out and learn that when you start going to church, start learning the word, practicing what the word is, you know, baby steps. You know, every individual has their walk with Christ is different. You know, everybody walks with Christ is a very different walk.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's got the same one.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So, you know, you're his soldier. You're gonna do God's work.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is protecting your family, whether that is putting yourself on the line for them, whether that's even sacrificing yourself so that they can prosper.
Exactly.
And, you know, and keep going on with life.
Okay, good deal. Exactly. Hold on, let me do this. That's
what I think.
Hold on, don't go nowhere. We're gonna come back to you. Hold on, Anna. We got another caller, but Anna, you wanted to say something real quickly?
So, man, say something to everybody.
Yes.
This hardworking, hard sacrificing that I'm in tears because he never calls in is my beloved husband.
Yes.
Thank you for calling in and taking out of your busy time from your work and your driving. We all thank you for your essential duties and your sacrifices. We love you very much. And I was very surprised. I'm almost in tears, but these are good tears.
Yes.
Thank you for calling, honey. It means a lot.
Absolutely. And thank you. Definitely want to thank you. We have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Ricky Neal.
Hey, what's going on? You know, I didn't know if I was in what I was in. I'm sorry.
Okay.
How's everybody?
Hey, doing good. Good morning to you, sir. We're asking a question.
I am pretty good.
asking a question. What is a thug? What is a thug? What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, that's just something that I think that we have picked up, but I think that we also have to be reminded that what do you consider yourself as? Because I'm listening to these. I'm big on words, and I hear people throw these words around and things of that nature, and sometimes I maybe sit back and I wonder about where God has brought me from. And I was listening to that dear brother speak just a few minutes ago, and it has had me reflecting about when I was growing up, we was considered hustlers. And I remember Ice-T made a song. Hustlers.
Yeah, hustlers. And, yeah.
And so when you hustle. Tell people good hustlers or bad hustlers. It depends on how you use it. And I was hearing that this was to say that some young men maybe have put money aside who have after they have been caught. You know, those things does happen, but at the same token, we gotta understand is that are they really thugs? Are they a product of their environment? And I'm saying that to you because I don't think no young kid woke up one morning and said, I want to be a drug dealer, I want to be a thug, I want to be this. I can go all the things that we were talking about this morning. And we have to also let them understand that they are built as kings and queens. And that's what we need to start iterating to them. And I say that to you because what happens a lot of times, and I know for myself, the era I grew up in, and you and I have talked privately, and there's two sides of Jackson.
Yeah.
You met two sides. The side that I'm from and the side that one of the personalities of the shows is from. So what I'm saying from that, remember I told you, I say, he a little different because I see the world different because when they were exiting out of Jackson in 84, the epidemic of crack had just been introduced to us. So I lived through all that. So I look at things different. So sometimes I look at people, I say, well, is he really a thug? Or he's the product of his environment. So we have to look at it from different perspectives. I mean, you got to think that the man who was shot in Oklahoma, what did the police officer say? He looked like a big black thug. He was shot. So you got to understand something. That's another way of calling us a nigger. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. They can't say it verbally anymore, but so they use the word thug. So sometimes we got to refrain from those. We got to stop using those words and start using words that's going to be more. What I'm saying? We use these words that we hate, but we use it as a form of love. I mean, it's condescending.
Good deal.
Sometimes we got to sit back and just think about that for a while. I'm not going to be here too much long because I kind of stepped away for a minute. I was at my desk. I just want to add, when I heard the dear brother speak, I had to call in because what he said made a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, we was considered bad boys, and then we went from bad boys to hustlers. From hustlers to gangbangers. From gangbangers, now we thugs. It's always something bad, but you never say that about our white counterparts because they do the same thing. You know, I hear about Chinese.
The voicemail box of 787-517-932.
We need to stop saying the same thing. So we start embracing it. Maybe we can kind of remove that out of our vocabulary. So again, I want to thank everybody.
I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, absolutely.
You have a good day. Hey. And I'll see y'all. I'll talk to you later, Doc.
All right, now. Apostle, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I was just thinking, the caller before this last one was talking about, just being soldiers of God. And ironically, and back in first century, they would consider Jesus and his disciples thugs. Because the esoteric definition of thugs to the elite is those who threaten their agenda. And so they had this Hegelian dialect, which means they create an issue and then they solve it. So you look all through terrorists, they fund, give weapons to these particular groups of people, then they become terrorists. So what's coming for? And also I'm not sure who said, but they were saying that They consider Martin Luther King a terrorist. And of course, they consider Malcolm X a terrorist.
Yes.
You know, Harriet Tubman considered a terrorist or a thug. I meant to say thug. So anything that threatens the agenda. Now, here's a new definition of thug that's about to come. Christian extremists, those who stand for Jesus, like the man said, stand for Jesus, uncompromising and unadulterated, just stand for Jesus, the word of God. We're going to be called Christian extremists, which is going to be thugs. So it's just how they manipulate the word to fit their agenda. But the only thing about people who've been oppressed and kept in the bondage of ignorance, and even through self-ignorance, is they always latch on to titles because it looks glorious. Yeah. It's like wearing the pants down below the butt. Looks like it's cool, but that originated in prison, saying I'm available. But that's because that's cool. People who feel oppressed don't feel like there's a way out, will accept whatever comes to them that'll make them feel like there's something, it'll stroke the ego to make us feel better. That's why we have to get out there to really show people what life and purpose is really about, and that's through Christ.
Exactly. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, I'm just listening. The conversation changed a lot for me, or what have you. You know, and I'm always from that point of view is, you know, what folks call me don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I'm gonna keep doing what I got to do. What you call it is your business. I was never under the impression that nobody was better than nobody else in the first place. You know, there's always some dirt in the game. You know, somebody after you sell dope, well, ain't nobody give it to me, so why would I give it to you? Come on, so it is what it is. The world always been like this. I ain't never lived in a society that wasn't like this. So you know, when we're talking about what this means, what that means, we always talking about white folks' impression of people. I don't get off on that type of stuff. You are what you are. I mean, the big difference is Negroes run around with it tattooed all over their bodies and screaming, want somebody to notice them, and they keep hollering they thugs. You know, this was never my issue. I ain't never wanted to be seen doing nothing I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Let me say this to you too. Where I'm from, the people that's really the thugs, they don't have to advertise it.
What for?
They don't have to advertise it, man. They don't.
I'm gonna let you do all the advertising.
Yeah.
See, I'm not coming to you trying to prove to you who I am. I'm gonna let you do the advertising.
Exactly. And that's the difference, because the loudmouths, the one that hollering and screaming, I'm this, I'm that, man. When the rubber hit the road, man, they ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna be able to find them. You ain't gonna be able to find them. You know, they somewhere hiding, asking what happened. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Exactly. Cassandra, what's on? We're going to this. We're going Cassandra. We're gonna go Vasquez. Then we're going to Curtis. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, the brother that spoke right before Leonard, he really hit something with me when it comes to the words, because look at even the word. Okay, they use thug for our community, right, and other words for other people. But even look at the word ghetto. We know do we realize where ghetto came from? That's what the Nazis, the Germans used, the area that they made the Jews live in when they were being oppressed. And so they put them in this particular area, and then they called it a ghetto. And then so now they put Black people in certain areas, and they called it a ghetto. Now, do they call a poor white area a ghetto? I ain't never heard them call a poor white area a ghetto.
No.
But for us, it's always made to give a connotation of the demeaning, in a demeaning manner, in a demeaning way, the words that they use to describe us. So I believe we need to change the tone, change the word, change the verbiage of how we let people call us out in different areas. A minority poor area is a ghetto for Black people. In Germany, it was a ghetto for Jewish people. Come on now, the people that they were oppressing. So then, this thug thing, I think that a lot of these young men And I love our young men. I believe that they need to be redirected in the things that they do. Y'all know I've worked in the prison system for over 30 years, working with state, local, and federal jails. And that's the one thing I tell them, man, you were out there doing whatever you were doing. You were running businesses. You take that knowledge that you had in order to run a multi-million-dollar drug business and now use that to do something different. You can learn to be in the boardroom and not on the street corner. You can learn that, and we can help them.
Exactly, exactly. Let me do this. I said I had a order, but I've been sleeping on Donna for a minute. Donna, what's on your heart, brother? Donna, you there? Donna, wait.
Yeah, I got to get off of mute, man. I got to get off of mute.
I was ready to tell you to wake up and go to sleep, brother. I was ready to hit you with it. What's on your heart?
Yeah, when one of the brothers said something, I'm working on something now. Because my sister Cassandra, you call her every morning. You say that. Well, I thought about something. And Joseph was a good. You know, I like it. Because you can put him in the pit and wind up in the battle. Paul was a terrible guy, but he wound up being effective in the kingdom. He a thorough.
Yes, he was.
Peter didn't only talk; he was willing to back it up. He was a thorough. Peter was showing up. Jesus was a thorough because he didn't just talk, but he went in there. He said, "Look at here now. Wait a minute. This is supposed to be a house of prayer. Y'all are in the thing."
Yes, sir.
So he went right there among them. I'm working on this. But I'm just saying that there are people that think they are thugs. You know, thugs, because you wind up getting caught in your action.
Yeah.
And then you wind up being a sellout.
Exactly.
That ain't no thug.
No.
A thug have a plan. That when he done got through the game, he start dressing different.
Yeah.
He sit down in the Oval Office and they say, "You go out there and handle it."
Good deal. Good deal.
Because you know some thugs have a tendency to be a little guy, really. Got Skittles on their car, making free advertising. Ain't no thug. That's stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Vasquez, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I believe that every single one of us have a purpose in life. Whether you're feeling that you are, quote, a thug for God, whether you're a soldier of God, whether you're an individual doing God's work, whatever that may be, you know, everybody's got a purpose. That's also called leadership. You know, for you to be a thug, like, you know, I've been listening. Thugs, I mean, really, they don't even like being the so-called thugs. They don't even like you knowing what they're about. You know, it's very secretive when it comes to that kind of lifestyle, because there's a lot of people that are trying to get what you have.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're out there opening your mouth, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this," guess what, man? You got people looking over your shoulders right now.
Yep, exactly.
Because I mean, you're putting yourself out there in the sense that you're claiming to be all this and have all that. And when, you know, the stuff hits the fan and they go all the way up to where you're at, see that what you were saying had any kind of weight, you're dead, dude.
Yep.
Because of your mouth.
Exactly.
Because of your mouth, you know, the tongue, man, it could be your best friend, and it could be your best or your worst enemy.
Yes, sir.
You know, so I think that, you know, my point is, if I'm doing God's work, ain't nobody knowing I'm doing God's work until it's revealed to that person. Whether it is whether I'm going to be lashing out by protecting or even saving that person's life by helping, putting God's word into it. You never know. I mean, you got people that are out there that are actually starving, and here you are doing God's work or being a soldier of God or whatever else you feel that you're doing. But are you just gonna drive by that person and just know that he's hungry and forget about it? He's all right. No, man, you're a soldier, man. You're supposed to turn back around, go to Wendy's or Burger King, get that man a meal or that female or a family, buy that meal. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Exactly.
You did God's work right there, man. That's God's work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good deal. Good deal.
Very, very simple. So, I think that everybody should, that are feeling with such a title, to really learn how to use that. Because it, at the end of the day, it could really get you hurt.
Exactly. Pete,
not realizing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good deal. Good deal. Pete, what's on your heart? Pete, are you still with us? I think we may have lost Pete. Curtis, talk to me. Curtis can't find that mute button.
Yeah, bro.
Yes, sir. What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Brother, this was so prophetic. You know what I mean? It ain't too much that I can say. That's my brother from another mother.
Yes, sir.
But man, some of the best advice I got is when I was in the street. And I'll never forget, man, this gentleman's name was Glass. Glass, we was talking about doing right, doing wrong. He was telling me, Shorty, this ain't for you, young boy. This ain't for you. You know what I mean? Like, yo, get up out of here. This ain't for you. Right? And we got on the top of the prison. And I'll never forget what he said to me, man. He looked me in my face. We sitting there on the steps. He getting high. I'm sitting a little bit. And he looked at me, man. He said, let me tell you something, Shorty. He said, man, ain't no thugs when the lights go out. And I looked at him, right? I'm like, I don't know how to take that, man. Like, what do you mean? He said, look, Shorty, when you on that tier and it's lights out and it gets dark, you will hear even the hardest ones crying. So, you know what I mean? When he said that to me, it was one of the many things or the many signs and or symbols that God gave to me to say, okay, it's time for you to take your feet off these streets. You know what I'm saying? Do something different with your life. In terms of, I'm gonna end with this. For the young babes in Christ, the young hustlers, you know what I mean? The young thugs, if we want to call it that, the young hood dudes, whatever. I'm gonna say this, man. It is very easy for you to go from a street hustler to a boardroom. It is just every other career in the world. All you gotta do is learn the terminology, man. You learn the terminology, the models, and the situational crises and things of that nature that will come. If you know the terminology, you'll be able to last in the boardroom because won't nobody be able to talk over you.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And
I just wanted to throw that jewel out there for them bros that we got that's still in the street that might be listening to the show.
Good deal.
Terminology, you'll be all right.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go to Cassandra after I say this, and we're gonna close on out. But life, people gotta understand and realize that life isn't what they call you. Is what you answer to. Life has nothing to do with what they call you. They're gonna call you all kind of things, and you can say this they is whoever that they is in your life. So is not what they call you, is what you answer to. So what are you gonna answer to? That's the question. What is a thug? I don't know. I don't know. I've experienced some people in my life that the world would say they are thugs, and they've been some of the best people to me that I've ever met. I run into some people that if y'all don't mind me saying, I run into some people that say they were Christians. They were some of the worst people I've ever seen in my life. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Hey, is that Cassandra Green?
Yes.
This Ron Brown. Prophet Ron.
Oh, Prophet, how are you? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? It's been a long time.
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you. I am so glad to hear your voice on here.
Absolutely. Good to hear your voice too. Praise God.
All right. But yeah, I totally agree with everything that everyone has said. Actually, everyone was so poignant in what they said. And we have to define who we are, and we have to define that through our actions. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't need to label anybody anything, because even that young brother that's out there doing the wrong thing, you can sue your words through your actions by not shunning them, talking to them. That's how people change. Mm-hmm. So even if we're talking in thug and the terminology that they use in our communities, we can help these young people change. And that's why even if I see a young group of people doing something wrong on MARTA, I will say something to them. And a lot of people go like, girl, you dare. Listen, if they kill me because I did that, then I gave my life for a good reason. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. But for us to just ignore them and listen, these kids, most of the time, they have the highest respect for, especially the elders. They have the highest respect for us. And if we act like we're afraid of them, then why not act like we're out of control? Because y'all don't care nothing about me. Y'all wouldn't even say something to me. Mm-hmm. So we got to do better in how we reach out to our younger brothers and sisters out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We are about to get out of here. It's 9:07. We're actually overtime right now. Apostle, I'm going to come to you to pray us out today, if that's okay. And Cassandra, what is going on at 3:00 today? If you don't know, Curtis can help you.
At 3:00 today, if you did not hear this, or even if you heard it and you just need to hear it again, you can hear the entire broadcast in its entirety.
God almighty, she said it right.
At 3:00 on DKM Radio.
Yeah, good deal. Boy, Cassandra, I'm gonna send you the check, girl. You did it absolutely right. You said entirety and everything. Boy, I'm gonna send send you a check, girl. Gonna send you a check. You did it right. Apostle, if you don't mind, Apostle, will you pray us out?
Absolutely. Holy Father, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you. We adore you. We love you. We thank you for who you are to the world, and especially who you are to us, God. We thank you for this conversation. We thank you for every person on the panel and every person on the call, Lord God. I thank you for your perfect will being done in each and every one of us, Father, in the name of Jesus. Father, we lift up our young brothers and sisters that are out there, those who are stigmatized, those who are stamped, Lord God, those who've been mesmerized by the lies of what is perceived to be thuggish, Lord. But Father, we ask that your name would just invade, and that your purpose and your will would infiltrate the hearts and the minds of these precious and powerful people. Father, I thank you for raising up a party of people, an army, men and women of God, children of God, that will rise up for you in these end times, Lord God, to spread the gospel, God, to overpower the enemy and what society has tried to do to people throughout all the world, Father, to overturn it, Lord. So we thank you for the bond that keeps us together, which is love, through the blood of Jesus. And Father, let us unite for your purpose and for your glory and for your will. In Jesus' name, we thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. We're about to get out of here for today. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for participating. And if y'all don't mind, please share this broadcast. Share the broadcast on your social media as well, so more people can listen. Because I think this is something. I think we said something today that's going to really help some people in some mighty ways. So if you don't mind doing so, please share the broadcast. And again, share the broadcast. It is now 9:09. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Now take this light out into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. We're about to get out of here for today, trying to get my exit music. But this has been a great broadcast. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your participation. And let's keep this thing moving, man. Let's keep it moving. But as of right now, y'all have a great day and love one another. Exit music, play. Do 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 do. Okay, there you go.